Good evening and welcome to the Orville Review Show. And of course, I am Jody Simpson. And tonight we're reviewing an episode known as Gently Fallen Rain, which is Orville Season 3, Episode 4. But of course, I can never do this alone. I have to have the power of at least two. And of course, that is what I've been granted today. Adam is currently on assignment. He's currently looking out for Krill. And eventually he will join us again.
Wait. He's just driving from Edmonton to Calgary.
I was trying to make it sound good.
And
anyway.
I guess that means something. But I don't know what, Adam. What is it supposed to mean? You're not coming? Is that what it means?
Oh. Some fighting words at the beginning here. All right. But anyway. And of course, how could I do this without the producer and... of course, the very opinionated at this point.
I don't come here to hold back on my opinions, Jody.
Well, I would hope not, Dave.
Them.
That's kind of what we're here for. That's what this entire channel's about, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good. And of course, we have the man who needs no introduction because his mustache does it for him. Of course, that is Kevin Millard.
Thank you, Jody. Hello.
I was meaning to also tell you, Jody, that
that?
There's a difference between a mustache and a beard.
I know, but I just like his mustache. I'm not acknowledging his beard.
Oh, so you ignore the beard part. It's like you only see the mustache.
This all started when I decided to do an intro and I totally misspoke. And at this point, I'm like, what do I say about him now? Because I keep screwing it up. So I just went with the mustache.
Well, I only bring it up because in this episode, there's a mention of Bortus's mustache.
There is, yes.
And,
which was glorious, by the way.
Yeah.
It was glorious.
Apparently, it's a break of the Hippocratic Oath, according to Charlie. But
well, according to Charlie, everything's wrong in the world. I hate Charlie. But anyway,
that's
a whole other
character.
She is my favorite character now. Yes, absolutely. But as I said, guys, we are talking about Orville Season 3, Episode 4, which is Gently Falling Rain. What are our thoughts here, guys?
I love it.
Good.
I love it.
You liked it?
I love the politics part of it, like the politics of the Krill home world. I love all of that, all that world building.
Yeah. Dave?
Yeah, 100%. I'm with it. Like this is maybe my favorite episode of this season, and I don't know, we'll see, but it might be my favorite episode of the entire series.
Wow.
To date.
Okay.
I think that this does a lot of things I like, which is one of those is world building, as Kevin mentioned, but I think as well has a lot of it's got a lot of strengths in terms of you can directly relate to it. This came out during 2021 after the first Trump presidency seemed to be behind us. And it was some kind of cautionary
Little did
tale.
we know.
But
we thought he was in the rear view. Yeah,
it's still as relevant as ever. It feels like with this idea, who's gonna win? And what to expect afterwards.
Is it going to be the one who's spreading fallacies everywhere, or is it going to be the diplomatic one? Well, I guess we got our answer in both this story and, of course, the U.S. But let's not go there. Dave is a Karen. Why is Dave?
Well, when it comes to Adam's driving from Edmonton to Calgary, perhaps I am.
Is it the driving you have a problem with, or the not?
I feel bad for the guy. He just got back to Ontario on Saturday morning, and somehow he's in Edmonton, between Edmonton and Calgary.
The man is well traveled.
This is abuse, I would say.
I think this is abuse. All right.
Yeah, well. I think this to himself.
Hopefully his organization isn't watching. We won't mention them, but
we won't mention them. But man, we are going on vacation together. Maybe he's crammed in a bunch of work before.
Oh, that's probably what's going on, Dave. Come to think of it, because you're going to be on hiatus soon.
Well, not for a month, but yeah,
well, a little while
or so. But yeah, maybe Adam has to visit every city in Canada before he's allowed to go away. So
maybe, even though, well, you know what? As much as I want to talk about his his employment, we got something else to talk about. So why don't we just get into it, guys?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here we go. We open up to a crowd of krill Lots of krill. A whole whack of them. Let's be honest. But we're on Krill Homeworld here, which is actually called Krill. Funny enough. And we see that there's somebody who's in the distance, and they're relaying a message here. It's obviously a political message. Turns out it's Tila. Oh, that rascal Tila. You know, if she's not infiltrating Union ships and
Talea? Is that her name?
Oh, Talea, is that it? Oh, I called her Tila.
You did watch this episode, right?
I did. Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
It. That's how I got the screenshots, Dave. I have to watch
All
it
right.
to do that. But maybe I won't in the future. Who knows? But anyway, that's what kind of host I am, Dave. Yeah, sorry, Talea. There we go.
I just think names aren't your strength.
Names are not my strong point. Let's be honest. But anyway, it looks like Sam in the comments wants to know where you're going, Dave. Personally, I think that might be a security risk, and I don't think you should allow him to know.
We're going on the Star Trek cruise.
Oh, that's right. You're going on a Star Trek cruise. Nice.
A 3-hour drive from Edmonton to Calgary, just like a 3-hour cruise.
Tour.
Well, a 3-hour tour. Not cruise. What could go wrong?
All right. Well, this chick.
This is a train wreck already.
This is already a train wreck, but let's see where we go on it. Anyway, this chick, who I can't pronounce her name right, she has aspirations to become the next chancellor, and I guess there's going to be a vote very shortly about it. This is going to be the person who runs Krill, essentially, and she's got a little bit of a hate speech going on there. Like she's not happy with the fact that they're trying to do a treaty with the Union, and it's she doesn't like that at all. She thinks it's going against all the core values that Avis has bestowed upon the Krill people, because car rental companies
got to water down their culture and etc. All these things.
Poison the blood of their planet.
Yeah.
Little do they know that later on that already happened. But anyway, so we had a scene. Now we're back on Earth, and they're watching a screenplay of Annie, I believe. This is. I would hope so.
Stage play.
Stage play. Excuse me. But basically now. Do we think this is Dan or just one of Dan's people?
That's Dan. That's Dan all day.
I think that's Dan?
Well, he's on the Orville. He can't be here.
No, he's got the eye. No, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think it's Dan.
He looks a little bigger than Dan.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same actor, but I don't think it's meant to be the same.
No, I don't think it's supposed to be Dan.
Because he's the Broadway Dan.
He's the Broadway Dan. Yeah, there you go. And we see a whole bunch of delegates from the Union, including the president. I don't think
played by
Bruce Boxletter, who was in a famous show that you know about, which
a little show called Babylon 5. That's right, John Sheridan himself.
See, when I think of Bruce Boxletter, I think of Tron, because that's kind of what I know.
I know
he was Tron.
He is Tron. He is the title character, and he's in Tron Legacy as well.
He's
briefly.
In both of them. Yep.
And the CGI version of him is also in,
that's true.
In Tron Legacy. I forgot about that. Yes, but Babylon 5, come on, he's like the main hero of Babylon.
Honestly,
5.
I've never seen it. I barely know anything about the show.
So, I knew I didn't recognize him.
Well, it's the makeup. The makeup is very
the makeup
heavy.
Oh wow, I like this comment here. Dave and his annual B5 orgasm.
Well, it's not annual. It's more like weekly.
It's almost weekly. Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah, we like daily, but we can't be that lucky.
Yeah, we're not going all the way there. Shade from Kevin. I like that. Anyway, we see that they're hosting, obviously, the delegates from Krill. I guess this is the preempt to the treaty that they're going to sign. Basically saying that they're going to kind of work together and be friendly to each other. And the current chancellor, which is the gentleman over to the right, I believe, our right anyway, is the current one, and he seems like he's a pretty down to earth kind of guy. But we find out later that he's not exactly as nice as he could be. But oh well. And then of course we go back to the headquarters where they are going to be, having a little, I guess after play party, whatever you want to call it. You were going to say something, Dave?
I was just looking who played the other Chancellor. His name is Matt Gottlieb.
Yeah, I don't know the name personally, but what can you do? But anyway, they have a quick discussion here. Everybody seems to be very excited for this, including the Chancellor and his people that are with him. For the most part, I would say this is a fairly nothing burger of a conversation, but it's essentially everything we kind of need to know.
Which it's all diplomatic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we get taken into the holosuite, whatever it's called, the simulator thingy. And it turns out they're doing a what is it? Decades pub crawl.
A time travel pub crawl or whatever.
Like a history crub crawl where they go all the way from a certain time period to another time period. And currently they're in the Wild West because of course
Cowboys.
Seth MacFarlane, Cowboys. Those are two things that go together. But yes, and of course Cowboys. You have to have Cowboys
and
in every
Star Trek and Cowboys and everything and fucking Cowboys.
There always has to be Cowboys, Dave or Kevin. I mean. But anyway, we see everybody's drinking around, and then Bortus has his little foam mustache, which of course somebody makes a comment about how they miss his mustache.
Gordon,
Gordon says that. And these two are getting a little close now. She's been promoted. She's now, what is it?
Lieutenant Commander,
yeah. And she no longer has to call him sir, which he responds, "That's good. I want to hear you say my name more." So obviously there's a little kind of little love in the air there, maybe. And then of course we see Isaac show up with his cowboy hat and his mustache on, which
this didn't really make me laugh. I didn't think this
stupid. It's stupid, but I love everybody's look on their faces as they see him. But
yeah, I think this whole scene in the saloon is probably the weakest part of the episode for me. Right? It's just
I would agree. Yeah. This is just filler.
The only thing I like the aftermath when like they're talking to the admiral and they're like they didn't even know we were drunk or we were drinking all day like that. Like I think it's
and then later on he makes mention that he is smart enough to realize that they were drunk.
That they were.
Yeah. But anyway, the two of them have been called up. They got an urgent call and they've been told to respond. And of course, there's what's his name again?
Halsey.
Admiral Halsey. There you go. So there, basically, he says, "Yeah, we're going to be, signing that treaty, and they want to do it on Krill, and you guys are going to be the first ship to, you're going to be some of the first Union officers to be on Krill, Krill homeworld. What a blast! And you're going to be coming and pick me up, by the way." Which goes back to the saying that they keep saying where essentially they're just a taxi service. Because let's be honest, so is the Enterprise. The Enterprise is a taxi service in a lot of scenarios. But anyway, they're very happy with each other. So they end up going back to the space dock. And this is where they bring in, obviously, the delegate. First time we see this, I was surprised to see this. Especially this green guy. I don't know who this green guy is, but he looks pretty awesome. And then, of course, we have more of what's his name on Babylon 5, Dave?
Like his character's name?
Yeah.
John Sheridan.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I'll remember that either.
Well, okay. I don't want to spoil Babylon 5 for you guys.
Oh, please don't spoil it because I definitely will be watching it next week. But anyway.
The writers and directors and producers did that.
Yeah. Now, one thing I did skip over was actually at the beginning of this episode, there is a in memoriam for an individual, which happens to be the lady that's in the scene. I can't remember her actual name, but actually I should have it right here. I think I wrote it down. It is, where is she? Lisa Baines. So Lisa Baines is actually, she's been in the business for ages, and unfortunately she died After she filmed this, but before it was released, she actually died in Manhattan. She got hit by a motorized scooter and suffered a brain injury. So that's pretty terrible. She was only 65.
Yeah.
But anyway, just thought I would make sure.
What was her role on the show?
That's this lady here.
Oh, she died. Oh, okay.
She died. Yeah, she died just after the filming of this, which is unfortunate. So, but she was in a lot of movies. She was in like Cocktail with Tom Cruise. She was in a whole bunch of things. She wasn't the main character, mind you, in Cocktail, but she was in a lot of stuff. She was also in she was in some series that she had like 88 episodes or something in, but I can't remember what series it was. But anyway, just thought I'd make a quick nod to that. And they're reviewing essentially this speech that chick who I can't pronounce her name says. And at that, what is it?
Talea.
Talea. All right. Talea. All right. Let's see if I can get that in their old brain there. Too much pot resin in there, I think. But anyway. And they're reviewing this and they're like, yeah, no, this isn't cool. And Ed's like, oh man, this chick again. You know, how many times does this chick have to screw me? Good joke there, by the way. They should have used that. But which that'll come into play later, unfortunately. But anyway, we see the other chancellor, and turns out he's not that great of a guy either. Apparently, he kind of set people aside, but it turns out that they use, now Davin would be interested in this, they use AI to create false accounts of the other party and then send it out to everybody to examine. So
right, this guy's not so bad. He didn't do anything that
we don't know for sure.
But like I think that that's the whole point, is that the reality and fiction are very blurred, and it's hard. But like the Union has the same technology and they don't use it for this purpose.
We don't know if they do, but
no, we do. We saw the episode where they were trying to get Lamar off, and they had to generate all that stuff with him with the dog and whatever, and that wasn't real either. And so they can make fake videos and images and whatever. But it's like they don't have that issue in their fictional society, so that's nice.
There you go.
But I love this part. This is like exactly what we're going through right now. Like there's just nothing is real. Everything is.
Yeah. So right now, Mercer's watching this. He's essentially watching TikTok, and he doesn't know if what he's watching is real or not. Take note, everyone.
Well, they said that they're also making like fake videos of Talea, but it's hard to really tell what are the fake ones and what are the real ones, because
exactly what we're going through.
She's not much different.
She's not very different in the fake ones or the real ones, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's amazing how a show that was created 3 years ago, this episode was 3 years ago, almost 4, and it kind of parallels a lot of things that are happening in today's society. Funny. Mind you, that was happening 4 years ago too, I guess, technically. So.
Well, yeah, since this is also about the internet and just computer generated anything, right? Like,
for sure. And of course, Kelly comes by. He kind of talks back and forth with her about the situation and how, like, some of these are fake, and you never know who these people are and all this. And she's like, yeah, what can you do? So then we go over to the bridge where they have now entered Krill space, and they're now on their way into this. I did say the external shots are quite nice again in this show. They always seem to be. We got some pretty cool things, and then we got to see a very what's the word? Very aggressive, I guess, stance by the Krill people. They're they have these 3 huge battleships that are escorting these guys closer to the planet. And then once they eventually get there, a lot of people happy. They end up, they have permission to go down, so they go down. They get into the shuttle. Kelly gets left in charge of the ship, which, hey, Kevin, for once, not the entire crew is going down on an away mission.
Right. Right, Kelly's going to be in charge for once. Well, actually, truthfully, Kelly's always in charge, but
yeah, she pretty much is.
Like officially in charge for once, and not also on the planet.
Yeah. She's not gonna have to fight her way out like she usually has to, which is kind of unfortunate because she can kick ass compared to some of the other ones. But anyway, they take the delegation down, and this is where we see some fighters get dispatched. They're gonna actually escort them into the atmosphere. And Charlie mentions that the atmosphere is very rough. She's going to try to give it a good go. And this is where we get the line. Basically, Mercer's like, Halsey, do you want me to like take the con? I don't think you need to do this. And he's like, yeah, okay. And he goes, well, I just want to make sure you're, equipped to know all this and blah, 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 basically. And he's like, this is where he basically says, yeah, no, I'm smart enough to realize that you were also drunk when you were talking to me. And he's like, shuttle's yours. Enjoy. Shuttle's his anyway. He's a fucking admiral. He can do whatever he wants right now. I guess the president might succeed him, right? Maybe.
The president does rank the admiral, yes.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Do we know that for sure?
Well,
Yes.
How do we know? Like, is in this structure, is the president the head of the military?
No, he probably isn't.
Well, I am presuming so, yes.
Why?
Because it's American. The show is American, and that's what
Okay.
that's how they think, and that's how Seth MacFarlane would think.
That is excellent reasoning. I withdraw
go.
my question.
You know what, Dave? Points to you.
That
was
it's
good rebuttal.
but you're asking a reasonable question that it could be a different structure.
Right.
It wouldn't be with this show, I think, particularly, but
Right.
but they could prove us wrong and show, well, actually no, it's the prime minister of the union is the real head of the military or something.
Yeah, who
I don't
knows? Maybe we'll find out in season 4. But anyway, so they go in, they have a bit of a rough ride, but Charlie keeps them intact because she's the golden child for this season. Anyway, we end up going down. We start to get to see a lot of the architecture and stuff. Very cool.
Yeah. I really love the design of the Krill planet and the city and like the lighting. It's I don't
Blade
I'm not a big
Runner.
fan of the people, but I really like the look
Reminds
of
me
the
of
city.
Blade Runner. There's a lot of
For sure.
advertising and stuff like that. And,
This is a planet that has no sunlight. Earlier on, when they were watching Annie, they found it to be harrowing because the sun will come out tomorrow.
and that's a haunting thing.
Yeah, for this planet of vampire goblins, they're not too excited about it.
Exactly. So anyway, they end up landing, and I guess I missed the screenshot, but Halsey basically says, "Hey, Charlie, why don't you come along? You don't have to stay on the ship." Turns out that's a bad thing for her, but anyway, it works out. I guess she was excited. They go through the halls. They end up seeing Avis, the statue of Avis. And when Charlie makes a comment, "Oh yeah, he's a very welcoming image." It's like the guy looks like he's ready to like rip your heart out. But a lot of gods are like that. What can you do? But anyway, they end up going into the counselor's chambers here. And they're basically here to kind of sign the treaty, but they have to wait for him. There's an election going on right now, which I thought was kind of
Which he's supposed to win. Don't worry
He's
about
supposed
it.
to win,
Yeah.
no problem, no issues.
Kind of strange to have a foreign delegation on election day.
Yeah.
Seems like a bad idea. Yeah,
It's weird that they agreed to this. Like, we'll come the day after the election.
Yeah,
How
maybe
about
we'll
that?
see who wins first, and then
Let's make
we'll
sure
know who
you're
we're
in
talking
power
to when
that
we
day.
get there.
Yeah,
Maybe-
make sure you're in power when we get there. Yeah,
Maybe you would want to establish, like, hey, we have an embassy on the planet before we.
an embassy might be a better start, Dave.
Yeah,
You're right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things, like, security-wise, I think they could do, but they're just kind of going along with the ride because they need the peace with the Krill, right? So
Exactly. So here's my question: why is the security officer not here?
probably to just not escalate any tension or it's as to show it's a sign of peace, I suppose.
But
know?
think of the situation that they had. If what's her name, Tala?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, I got one. Tala, if she was here, she probably could have avoided some of this.
Well, yeah, it's odd that there's not like some kind of an equivalent of the Secret Service or just security
Something.
detail for the president, but
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
But
Like,
it is what it is. But anyway, so he mentions that he's currently in the lead. Nothing to be worried about. And yeah, they're excited. They toast to his victory that's coming. And turns out it's not. She
The
actually
polls
wins.
were wrong, guys.
The polls are wrong. I think personally, the chancellor should create some sort of uprising. Maybe charge a Capitol building or two. Because he doesn't agree with their voting system. I think that's probably the best thing to do. But that's just me. What do I know? Oh, and then pardon them later. That'd be a good idea too. But anyway, that's a whole other issue. That was my political talk for today. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right. So anyway, we end up seeing that Talal, what? Talila? What?
Well, she doesn't come in directly, but her goons show up.
Her goons show up, yeah. It basically say, we're kind of taking y'all into custody. And he's like, she's not even in power yet. Like, we're just still in the vote. It doesn't matter. She's not even signed in yet. And this is where we're at. So anyway, they all get escorted out of the chamber, including the chancellor. And at this point, they have them at gunpoint, and they're bringing them all away. And then at this point, I think this is when Bortus gets the information that she won. Am I right on that?
No, I don't think they even get that. I think that they
you're right. Yeah.
They just get attacked by...
Yeah. That's right. They start... yes, they locked onto the ship with a tractor beam.
Tractor beam, yeah.
Yeah. And, this is where Kelly starts shining, because she gets all bitchy really quickly, which I like about her. She's just like, yeah, what are you doing? Basically, let us go right now, blah, blah, blah. And the guy explains the situation, basically, the new Supreme Chancellor has said, they're going to take you, and we're taking you into custody as well. And she doesn't like that very much. And then she sets out to do a directive. What was it? Directive 12?
21.
21. Oh, we're almost there. So Directive 21, which we don't totally know what that is, but I guess we kind of do. But anyway, so he basically says, okay, he's been ordered along with Claire to start preparations for that. We don't really know what it is.
So what we find out is that 21 or Operation 21 or whatever the heck it is Claire and Lamar are going to take off in a shuttle and basically infiltrate the Krill city as disguised as Krill, and then try to evacuate their people that way. But they're not going to rely on that either,
Even Kelly's like, yeah, that's pretty iffy.
But what happens here in the midst of this battle, I guess, is that Claire and John managed to get out. But it's kind of hard to imagine how they did this, unless they, I guess they're.
I never thought of that, but you're right.
Well, I guess that theoretically, I guess these Krill battle cruisers are so fixated on the Orville that they don't notice a shuttle leaves, and maybe the shuttle cloaks pretty fast. And
or does the shuttle come back later with the Armada? Because we don't see them.
Yeah,
they leave here because they have to wait to jump to go to Quantum.
Yeah, they can't go until John and Claire are out. Yeah, so they have to buy them time.
Well, they would have gotten out here somehow.
And Gordon has to do some fancy flying and make Bortus throw up in between there. But
he looked like he was going to throw up. I don't think he did. But anyway, there's a lot of space, a lot of Kelly gripping chairs. Basically, and then he does some sort of, I think he called it a DNA maneuver or something.
He called a spinning helix maneuver.
Spinning helix, that's it.
Yeah.
Which basically is just where you thrust the shuttle constantly in a turn.
The one thing also, I noticed this in the episode earlier when Ed leaves the ship, but normally Kelly's chair is on the right hand side of the screen there.
Yes,
and Ed is on the left, but she actually
she gets up and moves over.
She gets up and moves into Ed's chair,
Yeah.
Which Chakotay and Janeway had the same kind of a setup, and whenever Chakotay never did that. He never moved into Janeway's chair, but I noticed that Kelly does this now, or maybe she always has.
I think
she's
everybody
really in charge all the time.
Yeah. She knows which chair is the real chair. But she's humoring him by going into the other chair when he walks out, so he can see that she now thinks she's captain. So it appeases him, but in reality, she probably got up and went back to the other chair after.
Right.
She's like, "This is a real chair. It's fine." But good point, Dave. But anyway, yeah. So they end up in this kind of fight going on. At this point, we see the unknown name lady, and she's
who knows.
This chick. I don't remember.
They said it so fast. They never say it. They said it so fast. Who can remember?
They said it once. I totally don't remember, and I'm not going to bother looking back.
And the person who said it mumbles.
Oh, for sure. They're like, no. And I'm like, I don't know who
this obscure character that's only been in every season of the show.
It's only been in 2 other seasons, Dave. Thank you. But anyway, that's fine. Oh, geez. But anyway, we see the Victory kind of going out, and she's out on the balcony, basically saying, I promised you that I would bring blood for these things, and we're gonna start with this one. And she brings out the Chancellor, and she says a couple words to him, and then she stabs his ass, from what I remember. She stabs him. She really likes that knife, eh? She likes to use it as much as possible.
Yeah, she holds it up with great pride.
Yes, it probably has her name on it too, and only if I knew it. But anyway, what can you do?
And some bedazzled jewels, perhaps.
Probably. I would imagine there's at least a couple. But anyway, so now we see Mercer and Halsey, and he's talking they're talking in the holding cell, and Charlie says something, but honestly, at this point, I ignore her.
Well, Charlie says that this is stupid. The Krill, the Kaylon are going to win unless the Krill and the Union work together. Because remember, Charlie is anti-Kaylon all day long, right? Like she wants, so, and survival, I suppose, is the other.
Yeah, that's a big one for her too. Yep, right? I think so. But basically, she's like, yeah, it's not in their best interest to kill this treaty. Like, if they kill the treaty, they're going to have 2 people to deal with instead of 1. But so are we, basically. And Ed's like, yeah, no, I think you're right. And then at this point, they come in to get Ed, I believe. They bring him in to see her the first time, the woman with no name. And she basically, is like, you were wrong about me. I don't know why you keep thinking I'm a good one when, this is what I do, kind of thing. And he's like, I thought you changed. I thought I got through to you. And she's like, well, you're stupid. Obviously, you're stupid. You were dating me for X amount of days and didn't even realize it was me, blah, blah, blah. Basically belittling him for the most part. But anyway, she's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to spare your life either. Why would I do that? Essentially. But I don't think there was anything else really in this conversation, unless anybody wants to pipe up.
Well, I think that both of their conversations are good scenes. I think that, it's just like, what the hell, and she's so fanatical and evil, but you completely understand her motivations too, right? Because we've had religious zealots in our own world, and we still do.
Absolutely.
Who so it's like it's completely believable that she's acting this way, even despite all the, I guess, the mercy, kindness, the amount of work that Ed has tried to do in their previous encounters to reach her and to try to find common ground. And he even mentions that, like we were finding common ground. We were starting to make a connection, our peoples. And she's like, no, you guys suck. You're godless and you're ruining our planet. And I'm not going to have any of it, it's you. She's consistent. This character is consistent, which I appreciate,
There you go. All right. So she basically sends them back. And at this point, Mercer gets, he basically gets interrupted by this guard. The guard's like, you're coming with me, basically, again. And then we go and we see where Kelly has ended up. She's still I think she's outside of their sector now. But
she's
just
outside
kind of,
the krill space at least, or at
yeah,
least the system,
sitting in like a asteroid field kind of area. And she's having a discussion now. She ends up getting a hold of Talea. There you go. Oh, she does have a name, Dave. I didn't know.
I just
But anyway.
remembered.
Oh, good. I'm glad. You see, you must have heard the mumbles. But anyway, she basically says, "Yeah, no, we're gonna dispose of him, basically." But I don't remember.
Well,
what else.
she insults Kelly some.
Oh yes, she mentions how
the infidelity and all
yeah
this kind of stuff.
go find
yes.
another boyfriend. You know.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could find another. Yeah, that was
man's
good.
arms to run into or something. Like there was some
It's pretty brutal
bitchiness
actually.
here.
There's some definite cat going on here.
Mhm.
Sure. But yeah, so basically Kelly's already pissed off at this point. So she's and let's be honest, out of everybody, that's the one you don't want mad. She seems to be really brutal when she's mad.
Like the union just wants back their delegation, and Talea's completely like, no, we're going to execute them all.
Yeah, we're going to execute all of them because that's what I told the people.
And we find out that she's going to spare Ed only, right?
Yeah,
But the rest of them were toast.
Yeah.
She was going to stab them and cut their heads off and hang it from the middle of the market or whatever. But don't worry, Ted Danson's on the job.
Yeah, so Sam shows up, and he's not bartending anymore. He's now an admiral. And at this point, she's having a conversation. My B-day is Wednesday. Well, happy birthday tomorrow, I guess. How old are you going to be? I'm guessing...
Oh, tomorrow's Tuesday.
Oh, is tomorrow Tuesday? Well, they all seem to kind of go together with me. Anyway, so they have a discussion. She has a discussion with Admiral Sam, and you're going to correct me, so you might as well. What's his name?
Ted Danson.
You don't actually know this one, do you?
Yeah, I don't know his name either.
He says it at the end. He goes, whatever World War II general he's named after, out. He doesn't have a name for me. He's just Ted Danson. I think you give it. You even called him Sam. I was like, yeah, that was his character's name on Cheers, wasn't it?
There you go. That's why I called him Sam. And it's Perry.
Apparently.
Admiral Perry. Yeah,
Admiral Perry. Yeah. Which I didn't know either. But anyway, whoops. So we go back to the home world. She's now. They're now escorting Ed somewhere. They have him cloaked and.
So these are Talea's guards. So they were going to take him back to their shuttle, and the plan, I guess, here was that he was just going to fly off and get out, right? Because who would notice this human as long as he has a hood on in the city? He looks just like everybody else.
And the funny thing is, like when you see all the long shots of all the people walking around, nobody has a damn hood on.
Nobody wears a hood. You would stand out just for the fact that you're wearing the hood.
Yeah.
Why would you even need a hood?
What's he got under that hood? Holy shit, it's a human under that hood.
Yeah.
But anyway. With the amount of ambient lighting here.
They walk around this kind of Blade Runner-esque, area, which I guess is the commerce area. I think they mentioned it earlier. And so they end up going down some back alleys and stuff like that. And eventually what ends up happening is Ed gets taken, and
we'll find out that these are this is kind of like the resistance, the Krill resistance, who they kill the guards that were taking Ed there, and then they kind of kidnap him again.
Yeah, this guy can't catch a break. He just keeps getting kidnapped. It doesn't matter where he is. But anyway, they take him and they're taking him into an area. I'm not sure why I need to have a long shot of this guy, but I guess he was supposed to be important.
He was an interesting looking Krill. His chin horns were somewhat not so pronounced. So
they were more rounded. Yeah. He has more of a ball chin than a claw chin.
Yeah, not very masculine amongst the Krill.
I wonder. But anyway, so we end up seeing him. He gets escorted into kind of a back room area. And this is where he is presented with a couple people and a child in the background. And this child looks interesting because she's not nearly as vampire-y as the other ones.
No.
To quote Dave. And it turns out she's a hybrid. She's a hybrid between the lady who has no name and Ed. because apparently they're compatible somehow. I don't know how, but they are. I never understood that. I don't get it.
What? Like that?
How are all these different species compatible?
Well, like theoretically they wouldn't be. Like, you know,
Exactly.
But
Never understood this, but
you don't really know either. It's like if there were two humanoid species, it's maybe it is, you know, it depends how the process works for the respective species.
I think if anything's going to work, it's going to end up being like, you know, from Alien, and it's going to be like this weird crappy hybrid.
No.
And it's gonna...
They've got a universal translator for sex.
Oh. Universal sperm,
but
a universal fleshlight.
She was presumably conceived when Talea was undercover, right? Posing as the human.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe also she said she did go through that process in order to make her get through the medical scanners. So perhaps that process made her more genetically compatible with humans too.
That's better than what I came up with, Dave. So good for you. But yeah, no. And basically Mercer finds out that this is actually his daughter, which I'm not sure ever gets mentioned again. But anyway, I guess for the sake of this episode, it is. But we find out that she's fairly gifted, pretty smart.
She's good at the Rubik's Cube,
this
the Krill Rubik's triangle, I guess.
Rubik's
pyramid, the Rubik's pyramid.
Yeah, there you go. That lights up every so often, at least in post production. But anyway, so we end up she's just playing away, and Ed kind of they kind of let him know that this is his daughter, and he's like, does she know? And they're like, no, and we're gonna keep it that way. And he's like, okay. And then he has a nice little kind of heartfelt, you know, little moment here. You know, she's like, you know, what's your name? Blah blah blah. I don't remember her name. Don't ask me. I know it means
Anaya.
I know it means gently falling rain.
Well, you know the def. Yeah, that's good. So,
I know the definition. What is the name?
Anaya.
Anaya. Oh, okay. There you go. But anyway, it was a nice little scene between Ed and whatnot.
Right. And I guess, you know, her only being one is also to be implied that, you know, I guess Krill mature much faster than humans.
Fast, yeah.
Yeah, they don't really touch into that, but yeah, she's a pretty grown kid for a 1-year-old. Like, you know, this is pretty quick.
So yeah, it makes you wonder how old Talea is, right? You
yeah,
know.
Talea could be like 800. We don't know.
More like 8. Would be like...
Oh, that's even weirder, Dave. But anyway, all right. Well, let's not go
there. We got a cat situation on our hands.
Could be a cat situation, but you know.
God, I hate that character. But anyway, so we end up seeing that the Armada has shown up. They start warping in, joining the Orville, and this is when Admiral Azala. See, I was going to go look at it, but now that you told me, I don't have to. She's from something else too. I totally recognize.
Well, she's not Ted Danson, so I don't remember her real name, but her character name I'm pretty good with.
Hey, that's
Ted Danson, the only real name you can remember.
You have the reverse version. You remember all the character names, but not the actual people.
Only for Ted Danson. I'm like,
except for Ted Danson.
Yeah, he only plays Ted Danson.
Ted Danson as Ted Danson. Yeah.
Even when he was in like Saving Private Ryan, I was like, it's Ted Danson.
Oh, look, it's Sam. Yeah. Why is he not? He's supposed to be bartending in the 80s. Why is he in the 40s?
Yeah. He's getting back with the Red Sox. Don't worry. He's good.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But anyway, so they decide they're going to warp back into Krill space again. So the Armada's on its way. And at this point, he's been brought back to her again. And at this point, he basically says, I know about the girl. In which she kind of responds, why are you being such an idiot? Like, I gave you a way out. You didn't go. But in reality, was it really his choice anyway? Like, he was taken from one party to another. Like, he didn't have the opportunity to leave yet. So I'm not totally sure that that's his problem. But anyway.
Oh, well, I guess he had the choice to run, I guess, and not come back here and confront her. But he wasn't going to do that, of course. But like, but in her mind, she doesn't even know that about this thing with Anaya until he tells her. It turns into this big argument, and why did you even have her if you you hate humans and the world so much, but we find out that the Krill are very anti-abortion, like very to the point where
Very pro-life,
you
which
could say
we
that.
find out. That's one way to look at it. Yeah. But basically, she's like, yeah, let me show you. Basically, so they go into this kind of observation room where there's two people are brought in, and I guess they recently had an abortion, and they're going to genetically make a hologram of the kid that they would have had to kind of torture them, I guess. Really is all.
Yeah, this is like a new definition on cruel and unusual, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's like, why did you get rid of me and stuff like that. It's like, wow, this is deep.
Yeah, but we also find out that the Krill are a capitalist society that there's people who don't have money, and that's presumably why these parents make the decision. Not that they have to justify it, but
they do on Krill apparently, but. But everywhere else now. But again, another thing that's quite interesting that kind of mirrors things. But yeah, this was definitely a product of its time 4 years ago, I think.
This is so 4 years ago. Who would ever?
We've gone really far since then, Dave.
Yeah, we figured all that out. Like this is really feeling dated, actually.
It's totally dated. But anyway, what can you do? So at this point, she now.
Oh wait, go back. They're doing the Elon salutes.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Is that a bunch of Romans?
Yeah. I think they're just expressing from their heart, really. Yeah.
I'm so glad we don't have these problems anymore, Dave.
No, it's all. We're in a post-problematic society now.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we're good. You can do all the salutes you want. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. But anyway, so she addresses her people again. This time they've brought the whole group of them, and they're gonna kill them all apparently. And she's got the sword. She's got her little dagger again, which she's already killed the Chancellor with. And this is when all the Armada shows up, and they're here to cause some crap, basically. And I can't remember what board it says, but basically, that they're coming for them, basically. And then at that point, she's like, "Okay, I guess it's time for the red lights again."
Well, she does say red alert in this twice, and have they done that before with red alerts? Is red alert a Star Trek specific thing, or does this exist in military?
I don't know
terms?
that they've done that on this show ever.
Well, I know a red alert does exist in military, but I'm not sure it means the same thing.
I always wondered if like red alert was something Star Trek specifically invented, or if it kind of existed before the show. But maybe it's one of these things that is just so much in our cultural consciousness that we
goes in.
It's like, well, that's Star Trek invented that, or
Cambridge University doesn't tell us much about it other than the Army was on red alert against the possibility of an attack. So it's the state of being ready to deal with a sudden dangerous situation.
The term red alert was first used in World War II, indicating aircraft overhead.
There you go.
So when things were about to get bombed, you would say red alert.
Oh, there you go. Not only do we cover science fiction here, Dave, you learn things.
Yeah, this is a history show, really.
This is, you know what? Honestly, we should have a government grant.
I'm with you.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, so Kelly moves them to red alert. At this point, we see a massive attack starting. There's one thing about season 3; they are all for casualties.
This battle, we don't get any sense of what the casualties of this battle were, but I feel like
there definitely was.
I feel like they were heavy on both sides.
Yeah, you see a lot of ships going down. You see a lot of them blowing up.
Yeah, and it's plausible because they have the president of the Union in this as a hostage. And I could, this would, if maybe it was just the admiral or somebody, this would seem probably taken.
Doesn't someone ask one of the admirals, "Are we in a state of war?" And they just go, "Yes."
Yeah, they asked Ted Danson.
Oh,
and he goes, "Yeah, but we're also, we also like to not be as well because we have the Kalons and."
Well, they have essentially the head of the government.
And the head of
hostage.
state.
Yeah, they've abducted and they're going to murder the head of the union. Yeah,
Right.
So yeah, it kind of makes sense that they show up.
That's an act of war, I would say.
Which just shows
Okay.
like Talea is like as stupid as her philosophies are and all this kind of stuff. She's even dumber as just like a leader and like
Yeah.
and just playing this out. Like they just like
I
how
wonder
many
what
people
that's like.
Yeah. right?
Hmm.
But like it's just like and then she's
Personally,
like,
I
well,
think she should just contact the Kalon and say, "Hey, you could become the second planet of our solar system, and we won't tax you as much."
which one of these like hostages should I stab with the knife first? I know the absolute worst one I could pick. The president.
Let's go with the president.
Yeah.
I was hoping for Charlie, but that didn't happen.
because that she would be the least important one, right? Not that it
You're
would be a
supposed
good
to
thing.
start
but,
with the least important and work your way up. Like that's kind of how things go.
not
You're
to
going to
Lish.
lose your audience by the time you get to Charlie if you start from the top down.
Yeah.
Do you think
no.
anybody's tuning in to see Charlie get stabbed? No.
No. They already saw the Chancellor. We can't go down. We have to stay parallel.
Charlie would be like the Tyson fight. Like
Right.
it would be, yeah.
And she finds out that this fleet is in orbit and this battle has begun, and she's like, "Don't tell anybody. Just like just tell our forces to beat them." Because she also just, I guess, believes in Krill's superiority so much that she can't even fathom that her fleet could get massively attacked here.
Which is ironic considering they were already attacked by the Kalon and they suffered massive casualties as well. So it's like, really? Do you even know what the hell you're talking about?
Have you ever seen a more chaotic?
Yeah, imagine electing an official that doesn't know what the hell they're doing, Dave.
Have you ever seen a more chaotic first few days of an administration?
That is a very chaotic administration. Wow. It's a good thing that these things don't mirror real life situations. That's all I can say.
Yeah, so it's a good thing this is all just fantasy.
It's a good thing. So anyway, she ends up stabbing the president, and that's when we see big, huge lights.
I feel like Lamar and Claire could have showed up maybe a little sooner here.
Maybe 5 seconds would have helped.
Right, because they show up with all their little UV bombs or whatever to kind of.
I guess they're essentially like flashbangs, that type of idea where they kind of stun you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they end up running off. They run off into a Blade Runner-esque vehicle. And at this point, Charlie clues in that this Krill is actually Lamar.
Once he starts talking, it's so
once he
obvious.
starts talking,
it's
it's pretty easy to figure out. And then we have Claire as well. Claire is the other one, and of course, this was something that was in the works anyway. But the good news is they brought Claire, because if they didn't bring Claire, that guy would have been dead. But what can you do?
Assuming that he has an important organ where he was stabbed.
Well, this is true. You never know. You might have stabbed him in like.
He might have stabbed him in his private parts. Not everyone keeps them in the same place.
That's true. Sometimes they're on your knees. But anyway,
That was not his knee.
That was not his knee. But anyway, so we get this. This is a cool little scene. Them flying through.
Yeah, the chase scene. Like I love the look of the city. So I thought that this was.
Yeah, they did a great job.
And then the battle. And then you see like these ships of the same class of the Orville, they're burning in space.
Yeah, like there was definitely casualties. Like this one doesn't. This one's missing half of it.
This was not like a little skirmish. This was quite a battle that took place here.
But anyway, they're getting chased through. Turns out the guidance system is no longer functioning. So basically, trying to navigate this planet without a GPS, that's trouble. That's trouble right there. Like, how are you going to be a Lyft driver after this?
No stars to guide you. You have to have
stars.
the GPS.
That's right.
Yeah, there's no stars on this planet. That's true.
Yeah. So anyway, they're in a nice high-speed chase. They end up making them collide into each other. Then they take off, but there's still more on their ass. And at this point, we still got some more scenes of battle. We see Kelly being, mean Kelly, which I kind of like. Not gonna deny it. And at this point, we see still a whole bunch of stuff getting blown the hell up. And then at this, even this, this is the shuttle. They end up. What? I'm missing the cave thing because there was supposed to be the cave, right?
Well,
Oh, maybe
when they find the shuttle, you mean? And,
Yeah, they go into a cave where the shuttle is, and then they take off, right?
Right. Yeah.
I must have missed it somehow. Sorry, guys. But anyway, because the shuttle is now returning.
Wasn't that important?
Yeah, well, but anyway, there was a shuttle waiting, and they grabbed the shuttle and then took off, basically. And then they crash land because the only way you can ever land a ship in these environments is to crash land them. It's much more interesting that way.
If it was like a gentle little like you go, come on.
You'd be like,
have some urgency.
They weren't really in any sort of danger. But anyway, Kelly gets informed that they have them. At this point, the Admiral's like, yeah, nope, it's time to piss off and go home. We got everybody we need. So they start warping out. And then at this point, we're back on Earth. We're back in the same area that they were at the beginning. And this is where Halsey's like, yeah, no, everything, we're going to have to figure this out. But, at least everybody got back. And turns out the president's going to be okay. So that's good. So they must have stabbed him in his junk, I guess.
They got him in the junk. And he lives just to tell the tale.
Yeah, and then we have a scene where basically the two of them are kind of talking about
he'll
how
be the last of his line.
Yeah. Sorry.
He won't have any kids, but that's okay. But anyway, so basically Kelly and Mercer are talking about the child. And she's like, I always thought you'd be a good father. And he's like, that's nice, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well,
like he says here, I don't even know her, but I miss her. I thought that was a nice,
nice
touch. Yeah.
And then at this point, we go to a view screen where we see the girl again. I can't remember her name, but anyway. Anaya. There you go. See, Dave, you're much better at this. And then we see, obviously, the woman with the unknown name watching her child. And at this point, she's just like, you don't really get the impression that she's enjoying watching the kid.
Well, I get the impression she's like conflicted. Like she cares about her daughter, but at the same time, she's.
So is this supposed to show us that she may actually have some emotion?
Oh, I think she has emotion to Leia. I think you mean. But,
Leia, that's the one.
Yeah. And I just love if somebody's listening out to this audio version where Jody's like, what's her name? She doesn't have a name. And whoever this daughter is, who can remember her name?
I apologize in advance to anybody listening to the podcast.
If you're following along, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully you're following along because you're not going to get any information out of me. I guess is...
if you were looking for the Coles note to what happened in this episode, you might be confused.
This is not the podcast for you. Just goes to show you why I'm never going to have another hosting gig after this.
But Talea, I think, is a bit I think that's why she's a compelling villain too. Is that she is not just a pure evil, even though she's very evil. I'm not trying to, but she's got like this sort of complex morality to her.
She's not very one-sided. Yeah, like there is,
and
so
well, like, and that her whole shtick is projection, right? Like she hates outsiders and she doesn't want any mixing, but she's got this daughter. It's the same as the Republican who hates gays, but actually is.
Whoa, hold on.
Getting hand jobs in the bathroom and whatever.
There is no Republicans who hate gays. Come on. That's
no.
No, they love them long time.
Yeah,
sometimes more than once a night. But anyway, and of course that is the end of this episode. So, final thoughts, gentlemen.
Yeah, like I think I stand by it. This episode is really strong. I think that I like that, there's this whole thing where we're building peace with the Krill, and they bring in John Fleck, who plays that Krill ambassador, right? A whole bunch of times, and we're making progress. And then all of a sudden it's, for every one step back sometimes or forward, it's 3 steps backwards. And that's how this feels, right? Where, that's this fanatical thing. I think bringing back Talea as a character was really smart.
Yeah.
And making her the new, what if we make her like the Trump of Krill or whatever? and I'm like, this makes a lot of sense,
Yeah, it's good.
The fact that Ed let her go, and like that's part of what's haunting all this, right? Is that he thought by this act of kindness, of mercy he showed her by letting her go back to the planet, and she calls him a stupid idiot for it, right?
Yeah.
It's, where he's also questioned the choice to give amnesty to Isaac, and is that going to prove to be the wrong decision or not? And so you take these chances and they don't always work out. I think in most Star Trek, it was like, but I was nice to you and then we were friends and then there's peace. It doesn't quite always work out that clear in reality.
True. Well, Dave, do you have some fun facts for us today, or is it me?
I got a few. Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, then it's time for Fun Facts with Dave.
Thank you.
Well, details discovered as well.
All that. Seth MacFarlane directed the chase scene because director John Cassar came down with the flu.
Oh. It was a good chase scene. I liked it.
Yeah, it was all right. This episode takes place in the year 2422. The previous episode, Mortality Paradox, probably takes place in June or July, so this probably takes around August. A treaty was supposed to be signed on Krill 1 week after Corrin's visit to Earth. That means that no more than 7 days passed between Corrin's visit and his election defeat. Ed mentions that humanity fought a series of water wars that took place sometime between the 21st and 24th century.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Waterworld. High Priest Pakor says that the Krill Society has been stable for tens of thousands of years.
Depends on how you define stable, I guess.
Yeah. Ed released Talea back to the Krill in October of 2420. Admiral Halsey says that she emerged as a political leader of an extremist group 7 months later. So it's been about 2 years since he's seen her then.
Okay.
2 hours pass between when Kelly confers with Admiral Perry and the arrival of the Union fleet. Most of this is timeline related. During the flight to the Krill surface, President Alcuzan says, "Night falls fast. Today is in the past." That is a quote from Edna St. Vincent Millay.
Oh. There was another quote in this as well.
There was another quote mentioned. Ed says, "Battle plans are only perfect until the fighting starts." This paraphrases Prussian General Helmuth von Moltke the Elder. There's variations of "no plan survives contact with the enemy" have been attributed to many leaders over the years. But maybe more famously, Mike Tyson weighed in saying that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
It's true. It's amazing how that can derail a plan.
This episode runs approximately 66 minutes, including all credits, but no commercials. This takes place on par with the Shadow Realms. It's approximately the second longest episode of the season. That, every time you're like, "Hey, what was up tonight?" I'm like, nothing. All of these Orville episodes are like an extra 20 or 30 minutes that I keep forgetting about by the time I get going.
I've had to adjust my viewing calendar for that.
Yeah. In the opening of the episode, Tala Kiali is promoted, as we mentioned, to Lieutenant Commander. Mercer, after years of pretending to enjoy alien delicacies to avoid offending anyone, saying that they're always a crapshoot, he remarks in this episode that he finally gets a good one with the human palate of the Cospid cider.
Yes.
And Jody, you do like a good cider, so maybe
I do like a good cider.
This Krill Cospid cider. It's
I
blessed
bet I
by
would
Avis.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, if it's blessed by Avis, I totally want to try it.
Right. And inside the Orville for the bonus feature available on Hulu for this episode, writer Andre Bormanis stated that the big theme of the episode was how do you really know who to trust? And Winters expressed that she did not feel that her character Charlie Burke regretted going with the away team to Krill at all. Seth MacFarlane found the dynamic between Ed and Talea interesting for exploring the question of if you can coexist and find goodness in people who are radically off the deep end in their political and social views. So, what do you think, Kevin? Can you?
Apparently not.
No.
Both in art and in life.
And that's the end of the details there.
All right. Well, thanks, Dave. All right. Well, I think it's time. It's time for ratings. All right. It's always exciting when the ratings come out, guys. I don't know about you. Well, I think Adam's not here, so I can't start with him. So obviously, we're gonna have to go with Dave.
Yeah, like I was saying, like, is this my favorite? I don't know. Like I really love that episode Sanctuary we covered last season. I think I still like that episode more. But
You gave that one an 11.
yeah, so I feel like this is worthy of a 10. I'm going to go 10 on this one.
Really? Okay. 10. All right. Kevin,
Even though that opening scene with the cowboys in the holodeck,
you didn't like that.
I don't love it, but
It's short though, at least.
it's short, so
It is short. Yeah, it's only about 30 seconds total. All right, Kevin.
I think I'm gonna go 10 too. I like this.
I was not with you guys.
you were here the whole time, Jody.
Well, except for when it comes to names. But I would say, you know what? It's a great episode. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's a 10. To me, I think it's more. I like Sanctuary better, so I'm gonna go 9.5. I think that's still awesome. And Adam, we don't know, but we assume that he loved it, so most likely. But anyway, that gives us an average of 9.8, which is one of the highest ones that we've had throughout the series, actually. Only to be shadowed by, I believe, Sanctuary.
Identity Part 2 has a 9.9.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. So there you go. And IMDb has 8.3 on this episode. So clearly we liked it more than some of those people.
Although that's the highest rating so far of the season of all the.
Oh, really? Okay.
All the other episodes.
Yeah. So there you go. So combined average of 9.1. But Dave, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Jody, you might not know names.
But you know what comes next.
I probably do, Dave. The minute I click this thing and find out, it's going to be A Tale of Two Topas. And this is tension between Kelly and the Mocklins result when she helps Topa prepare for the Union Point entry exam. She's already that old. All right.
Right.
So there you go.
Right up there with Anaya. You know?
Right up there with the Anaya, yeah. So you know, obviously, everybody grows faster than humans in this world.
Humans are so slow.
We're just slow
terrible.
In more ways than one. But anyway, so that's it. But Dave, this isn't all we have here. No, we got other things. We got people who do various shows, and they generally know the names of everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, that's a big plus right there.
We got a lot of busyness around here at Live Long and Podcast. What was that? Saturday, we covered the Section 31 special movie event.
Unfortunately,
you were on Jody.
Spoilers, but unfortunately,
you were on Jody, and
yes.
so was Justin, and we had Heather, and I've been gathering the scores. And
Kevin, did you watch it?
I did.
How'd you feel, Kevin?
I felt in the opening scene. I'm angry at this movie because I loved it at the beginning. The very opening scene, I'm like, yes, this is what I want out of this movie. Mm-hmm. And then they introduced the people in Section 31. And
then you're like, how could all these incompetent assholes be in Section 31?
In the fuck? Yeah.
The Irish guy in particular.
Well, Kevin, if you haven't watched our review, you should watch it. I feel you'll probably mirror a lot of our.
I'll have to get your score off the air, and then we also what else is going on? We're back for another episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation on Thursday. We're going to be covering season 2, episode 2, Where Silence Has Leased with Negulum. We got the World Mind. We got Davin. We got Jaemeel on.
I think that's the wrong name for that episode. I think it's Where the Silence Has No Lease.
Am I missing a word?
I think so. But anyway, that's. You know what? I'm not good with names, Dave, so I would double check that because I could definitely be wrong.
That's true. I got to look at the source here.
I would if I was you. I wouldn't take my word for it.
Who is going to definitely memorize the episode names? Is it Jody?
I actually know the episode names. Sadly. Anyway. Not of the show that I'm reviewing, but of other shows.
Also, on Saturday, it looks like we're going to be doing our little finale for our Star Trek Lower Decks podcast, just to kind of wrap up all of that and talk about the show as a whole.
I didn't get an invite.
It's coming up on Saturday
I'll have to check the
afternoon.
mail.
Yeah, we'll look at live stream podcast, talking about all of the episodes kind of in their entirety. We're working on who's going to be on actually still. So, but yeah, coming up.
I won't remember anybody's name, so maybe not me.
Yeah. Like who are these characters, Jody?
I know a good chunk of them. I don't remember the bird guy's name.
Yeah, well,
Dr. Miglimo.
Miglimo.
Miglimo. Oh. I'd never.
He's
would've
exploring
got that.
space, looking for strange new meals.
Wow.
He cooks the mind.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
as far as I'm going with this. Just so
anyway.
you know. All right.
I'm done as well.
But do you have anything else that isn't sci-fi related, Dave?
No, not really. On Trivial Debates last night, they were doing the Doctor Who themed edition. Our own Justin Vaughn, or Velociraptor as he's known, was on there competing along with some Doctor Who experts. So if you're a Doctor Who
Ellie
person,
from
go check.
What Culture and
From Who Culture, yeah.
Well, it's Who Culture technically, but they're also What Culture.
Yeah, Sean and Trek Trav from Australia. So
yeah, Trek Trav as well. Wow.
Yeah,
I haven't got to see it yet, but I do want to watch it because I'm a big Who fan. Well, until recent times. But what can you do? All right. Well, Dave, unless you have anything else to plug. Kevin, do you have anything to plug?
Oh, well, go listen to Jameel's new podcast. It's called True Currency.
Oh, what's that one about?
Pop culture.
Oh, says so right there.
Him and his
all I had to do was read.
His new girlfriend there.
His new boo.
Becky with the good hair, as she's known.
Becky with the good hair. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
And Madison is the other person on that podcast. So
awesome. No, I wish him good luck, and I'm going to have to tune in. But it's time for us to go, guys.
Yeah.
And I know that you're heard about this, but I have to go research some names so I can forget them next week.
Right.
And the rest of you, have a good night.
What's this character's name? Or we'll be like, Topa.
Topa. It's in the name. No, actually, I do know Topa. But we'll see if I screw it up next week.
We'll see if you know Clyden's name.
We should have a counter. We should have a counter on how many times I don't get the right name.
I just think we need like a sheet or something.
You know what? I tried that and then I forgot it.
Okay.
It's upstairs. We hit the air and then I'm like, shit. But anyway. All right. Well, to everyone out there that was watching, or people who might be hearing the audio version and wondering why that guy's such an ass. That's me, by the way. Live long and prosper.
See you next time.
Podcast, of course, too.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on Trivial Debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.